Hi guys, we're going to look at area of some shapes now. So we're just going through just the formulas. If you want to look at the understanding of where we get area from, go back and look at the other video. So the first one we got here is obviously a triangle. We have the height of the triangle and the base of the triangle. So those are the important information when it comes to finding the area. When we're doing perimeter, we're trying to find the outside and you need the sides. But for the area, we need the height, which is from the top point to the base, and then the base, which is the bottom point here. So then we can get the area, which is area equals half times base times height. And we can write that shortly, like A equals 0.5 times by B times by H. So let's have a look. So let's say if we had a triangle and we had the height as 5 and the base as 3, we would write formula out first, so we can either use the whole one or we can use the simplified one, and then we substitute our values in. So we have 0.5 times by 3, our base, times by 5. Now 3 times 5 is 15, times by 0.5, which is a half, so half of 15 is 7.5, and you can do that in your calculator. Remembering our units, so it's centimeters squared, that's important for our area. And that's how you do triangles. So the next ones we're going to look at are rhombuses and parallelograms. So we looked at these the other day. So just put me over there. So a rhombus is just a pushed over square, and a parallelogram is just a pushed over rectangle. So we've got a rhombus here, and the important information, like with the triangle, is we need the height and we need the base. Same for the parallelogram, we just need the heights and the base. So the form is quite simple for these two, they're both the same. So the area equals base times height, and we can write that shorthand as A equals B times H. So if we look at some examples of that, so let's look at this rhombus first. So let's say if it had a base of 7, knowing there's a rhombus, each side is going to be 7. So this is where some people trip up, because we're not timesing it by another 7, we're timesing it by its height. So the height's going to be different to its base. In this case, it's 8 millimeters. So we've got a base of 7 and a height of 8. So we can put it into our formula. So A equals B times H, which is 7 times 8. 7 times 8, you can put in your calculator, which give you 56. Make sure units, millimeters squared. So let's look at this one. So we've still got the same height, as we can see, but this time the length's different. Or the base, sorry. So we got 10 millimeters here, 8 millimeters there. So base times height, 10 times 8, it's going to give you 80 millimeters squared. Pretty simple for those ones. This way it gets a little bit more tricky. So we have this shape here. Hopefully you've seen it before. It is a kite. And now they're given weird sort of units here. So when we measure these, we measure the cross sections. So from this corner to that corner, and we call that X. And it's just a label. It doesn't really mean much besides it's just the distance from there to there. And likewise, we have the cross section from the top to the bottom, which we call Y. So X and Y. And then we get the formula, which is area equals half times X times Y. So we can write that shorthand as A equals 0.5 times by X times by Y. So let's have a look go at one of those. So let's say if we have 4 kilometers across and 6 kilometers in the height, we can get our formula. So we got 0.5 times by X, which is going to be 4, times by Y, which is 6. So we have A equals 0.5 times 4 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24, and half of that is just going to be 12. So the answer there is 12 kilometers squared. You don't have to do that in your head. You can use your calculator, that's fine. It's just important to keep your units, and also for all the areas, this is how you should set it out. So state at least one of these. So either write it all out or just the simplified version. So always put the formula, then put your substitutions in there. So put your numbers in and then have your answer. So at least 3 steps every time. And that's all, guys. Go have a go.